what if I just figured something out about myself on your show?
I love it.
You're such a good host.
I'm taking this in my therapy this week. Today's guest is best known for his work on the original High School Musical movies, as well as another Cinderella story. Please welcome to the Zoom, Drew Seeley.
Hey, what's up? All
How's
right.
it going?
It's going well. How are you, Julia?
I'm
What's going
good. I'm really happy to be talking to you. Thank you so much for your time.
on? Yeah, of course. This is fun.
Yeah. So we always start by talking about how we met, and we met a handful of months ago at a music mixer of all
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, just a random night out in Hollywood with children's television music
Yes.
producers and writers, and there's some familiar faces I'd worked with there, and I went to support Mark Evans, who I've written a lot of stuff with, who just won an Emmy for
I know.
Foggy Road. Congratulations, Mark. You're a
Amazing.
hero. But yeah, you were there. We chatted it up. You told me you had this podcast. I said, "Oh, cool." Um, I don't like doing a million podcasts, but I went and watched one of your episodes with Matt Tischler, who I also wrote a bunch of stuff with back in the day, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, she asked really good questions, and
Oh,
this is a
thank
great
you.
interview, and like I'd love to be part of this and
Wow.
share whatever tidbits of experience and knowledge that might be interesting." So yeah,
Oh,
I'm
I
I'm
I really
here.
appreciate that. Thank you for saying
Yeah.
that. Mark, I had on behind the resume, and he has an amazing story. It's funny. My grandma watches every single interview. Whenever I post them, I send them straight to
Oh,
her.
Grandma.
And that was one of her favorite interviews, and that says a lot. So Mark's, I think I even messaged him that. My
You're
grandma
great.
watched your interview.
I learned so much about him that I didn't know. So I was like, oh, she really delved deep. Yeah.
Okay, so many questions. I guess we should just start from the beginning. Where are you from?
Let's start. Canada. Uh,
Really?
yeah, Toronto adjacent, Whitby, Oshawa area. I
Okay.
lived there till I was about 13 and then moved to Florida, Orlando, and went to high school and college in Orlando, and then moved out to LA in 2002, 2003. And I've been in Los Angeles since then.
Do you remember what your first dream was as a kid?
My first dream as a kid was probably to be a professional dancer. When I was about 7 or 8, I started taking ballet class, tap, jazz. A few years later, there was a lift class where, we would have to learn how to
Yeah.
throw other kids over our heads and dip them and all kinds of stuff, which 20 years later I ended up using in some movies. So thanks, lift class. And yeah, my parents would drive us to dance competitions, and I loved it. I loved dancing. That was the first performing I'd done, and then I discovered music and acting later. But dance has always been sort of central to that. So that was where it all kind of started.
Who put you in those dance classes? Your parents?
Oh yeah, my mom. Yeah, she's a stage mom, the best kind. Very supportive, loving parents. I was very lucky in that regard. That led to my very first acting job when I was 11. I was one of the kids in the ensemble of Showboat. Before it went to Broadway, they did a year test run in Toronto. And that was my after school job as a kid. A lot of my other friends were playing hockey and Canadian kid stuff, and I was like, I'm going to the theater, and I loved it. It was so much fun, and that's when I started really singing. It all started from there.
How would you describe yourself as a kid?
I was a fun-loving kid, kind of a people pleaser, and I still kind of am to today. I think a lot of performers have an element of that in them. If they start performing at a very young age, to be honest. But yeah, I just found myself happiest singing and dancing and performing on stage, and I knew very early that that was sort of like the route that I wanted to take with my life. But yeah, I mean, I've been always like a very, I think, genuine, fun-loving, not extremely extroverted person. I'm a little bit more interior, but if you get close to me and you know me, and then I got a lot of love to give.
Hmm.
Psychoanalysis.
That's what this whole hour is going to be. So,
I learned something about myself today. Yeah.
yes. Do you have any siblings?
I do have one younger sister, Katie. Yeah.
So, did she get into dance after you were already dancing?
Did. Yeah, she danced. She lived in LA for a while as well and was
Cool.
an actress and pursued it. She's in Florida now and has two beautiful kiddos and we keep in touch as best as we can. We're still very close.
That's cool. As a young boy dancing, did you
Mhm.
have just complete pride in that, or did you ever face any bullying or anything like that?
I faced quite a bit of bullying, yeah. I mean, at school, yeah, I faced a lot of bullying at school, but then, in dance class or on stage or at these dance competitions, it was the total opposite. It was like,
Mm.
"Oh my gosh, you're a singing and dancing boy and you're amazing." Like it was praise. So,
Yeah.
I gravitated toward that instead of hanging out more with the people that would, make fun of me. So, um, yeah, it was a little tough kind of figuring out who I was and like am I weird? Am I different? There was definitely some growing pains in my young life there. But yeah, it all evened out eventually.
What about dance do you think you fell in love with?
Music has been central to everything in my life. I have a good ear, and in dance, I could be very precise and I could understand. I could pick up choreography very quickly and um, kind of understand, match my movement to the music. It was a way of communicating, I guess, and the sort of the same thing when I started singing. Just using my ear to like figure out, make my voice match the music. Like it's like a intricate puzzle in my brain.
Hmm. When you think about your childhood, what were the defining moments that made you who you are?
Uh, um, well, I moved for if 12, 13 is still childhood,
Yeah.
I I my entire family moved from Canada to Orlando, Florida, um, right as I was finishing middle school and about to begin high school. So that was a defining moment for me.
Was that for work?
For my father's work,
Okay.
yeah, job. So the whole family moved down, but I did have to, leave all my friends and leave everything I'd ever known at that
Mhm.
age, and it was kind of like a tumultuous age to do that. So my first week in Florida, I hated it and was like, "What is happening?" But then I joined chorus class in eighth grade, and I walked in and um, they were so happy to have another guy singer there. So I quickly made a lot of friends. My best friend to this day, Brandon, in eighth grade, and quickly realized that like the skills and the things that I enjoyed in Canada that really weren't as much appreciated and that were like more um, I was shamed for were actually really embraced in Florida.
Oh.
It was sort of like right at the beginning of uh, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, like that whole time where
Mm.
it's like if you were a guy who could sing, you started a band and like you like it, and I was there during that time. So the fact that I was a guy that could sing, it was sort of like a serendipitous time to move there for what I
Mm.
like to do. And I found acceptance very quickly. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
I ended up loving Orlando.
When did it go from I love to sing and dance to this is going to be my livelihood?
Like livelihood or like I'm gonna do every school musical I can in high school.
Like, I
Did I start making a career out of it?
don't
A
know,
life?
like when did the mentality switch from like this is my passion to this is going to be my career and, my life for the rest of my life?
Um, Probably. I think I knew it in high school. You know, Prior to High School Musical, I actually did all of the high school musicals while I was there. I went to a really cool public school with a wonderful theater teacher, Jane Mueller, shout out, where all the kids didn't just act, they had jobs in production as well. So I got experience in like, stage management and prop department and everything else, and like really got like an immersive theater experience like starting in ninth grade,
Wow.
which was really awesome. And I loved it, and I was like, oh yeah, this is where I'm happy. This is what I want to do. After that, I eventually did go to college in Orlando at UCF, not studying theater. I don't quite know why. I went for ad PR, which
Oh,
was interesting, but ultimately not what I wanted to do. So after I graduated from college, I said, nope, I'm gonna give this thing a try. And I moved to LA at that point and
wow.
started waiting tables and just doing whatever jobs I could get until I was able to make a career out of it. So yeah.
So you went to school for all 4 years.
I went for 3 years, and then I finished the last year doing all online courses
Okay.
from LA. So it took me ultimately like 6 years to get my degree. I planned it in that way so that I could get out of there quicker and go give this a try.
Was going to college your want, or was it your parents want you to have a degree?
A little bit of both. Societal expectations, like who am I if I just, maybe like not enough of a belief in myself that like I
Mm.
should have a backup plan, the
Yeah.
stories that you hear. And also, yeah, parents desires and wishes. And like I said earlier, a little bit of a people pleaser, care maybe a little too much what other people think sometimes. So in going it all evens out in the end, because in not directly going to LA and starting my career then, when I did eventually go, I met the people that I met and now have the life and career that I have. And
Yeah.
if I had gone earlier, I would have had an entirely different path, and who knows if I'd even still be acting. Like who knows what, that's an alternate reality. But I enjoyed my time in college and met a lot of great friends, but I knew even then that like that wasn't ultimately what I wanted to do. I was like, this is sort of like I'm passing the time. I'm doing this to do it, but I'm
Mm.
gonna end up acting or singing or, at least giving it a real fair shake.
Did that cause you anxiety, or you were able to still enjoy the time?
I don't know, maybe a little bit of both. I was in a boy band at that time, so I was a little distracted. We were doing like weekend shows and driving around. We were sort of like locally famous. We never reached the status of any of the transcon bands, but we performed at House of Blues and released a couple albums, independent
Wow.
albums. And that's really actually where I learned how to uh, harmonize and write and like vocal arrange and all the things that ended up serving me 10 years later, in working with Disney in LA and writing and working on my own album and the things I've done since. Like that was all thanks to my time in Newground. That's the name of the band. But
Okay.
uh, but that was sort of during the college time, so that was fun. I
Yeah.
did enjoy that a lot.
Had you been to LA before moving there?
My mom took my sister and I on an exploratory LA trip for like a month,
Oh, cool.
over a summer. I can't remember if that was late high school or very early college, but um, yeah, she took us to a show at the Hollywood Bowl, um, where I met a development executive at Paramount who just happened to be sitting next to our family, which was so, it's like
Yeah.
these kind of things, like you can't plan them out. So when I went back years later, I shot off an email and landed an internship logging Judge Judy and Dr. Phil tapes. Yeah, I was like, just get me on the lot. I don't care what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a paid internship on the Paramount lot. So I felt like, oh my God, I've really arrived. Like this is when I first moved there. Wasn't enough to pay rent, but it was exciting. And I ended up using my lunch breaks and taking the golf cart and trying to take meetings with producers and like just kind of like learn how, I wasn't the best employee, but it was a good learning experience. And funny enough, I learned years later that my now wife, Amy, was also on the Paramount lot at the same time,
Wow.
working, doing an internship. I think was it Access Hollywood? I'm blanking on the show, but I never met her then. But we were crossing ships in the night, and then we met years later.
See, if you
Yeah,
had gone to LA, or I mean, you'd meet her there, but who knows what would have happened.
yeah. So I don't. All to say, I don't regret any. I don't regret any lack of confidence in coming too early in that time of my life because it all led me to where I am now, which is a pretty great place.
Yeah. Before moving out to LA, what did you picture as the lifestyle of, being an actor, singer, dancer, and what was the reality when you got here?
I don't think I was delusional in thinking that like, oh, I'm going to land a series immediately and I'm going to be, living in the palm trees and like I had been acting in since Showboat when I was 11 and then in Florida, doing commercials and whatnot, doing One Tree Hill, which is what I'm actually here in this hotel room for is for a One Tree Hill convention. But I did the first season of that. I did Dawson's Creek. Those are all East Coast things before I moved to LA. So I had a little bit of a resume
Hmm.
and I had an agent lined up. So I didn't come out with nothing set up. But that being said, like I once I got to LA, I couldn't get arrested for a couple of years. Like it was not I wasn't being offered things. It was tough going for a while. I was working at PF Chang's as a hot rice scooper. I've told this story a few times, but like they would not I begged them to promote me to server and they're like, "No, you need to stay in the back scooping hot rice. That's all you're qualified for."
Okay.
So, I even I even had some CDs in my apron. I think one time I served Jamie Foxx some hot rice one time, and I dropped off a demo on his table as they were leaving. Like, yeah, it's pretty cringe now that I think about it. But I
It's
was
the
like, I don't
hustle.
know how else I don't know how I'm gonna meet these people, and like, here he is. Oh, I have a demo.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's
uh,
awesome.
but yeah, it was
Yeah.
that was my survival job for a couple of years in Sherman Oaks, and yeah, I was still working there when High School Musical aired. We were watching it on the bar top TVs, and I was telling all my coworkers, "Yeah, that's my voice," and they're like, "All right, dude, yeah, take your rice out to table 53." Um, and then they said, "Oh yeah, no, you can't have 2 weeks for Christmas to go home," and I was like, "Well, you know what? I quit." And then that was the last job of that sort I've ever had. Since then, I've been able to support myself with just music and acting, and that was about 20 years ago. So super grateful, knock on wood.
Have you been to a PF Chang since?
Yeah, I harbor no bad feelings toward PF Chang's. I do like their food.
Are you like, oh, this rice is a little dry?
My family and I have all been living the vegan life for about a year now, so that limits our PF Chang's options severely.
Mhm.
So we haven't been there in quite a while. But yeah, it was a good period of time. It was fun.
I'm vegan as well, and there are so many amazing spots in LA. I'm sure
You
you know.
are.
Yeah.
We'll have to chat
Yes.
about this later because
Yes,
we're
definitely.
we're kind of new to this and we've got some favorites, but they
Okay.
get old. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll give you my list after. Um,
Nice.
so what was the dream at that point? You said you had CDs in your pocket. Did you want to be a pop star or was it like Broadway or TV?
Broadway was not even on the table because that was New York. I was in LA, so I was really gunning for TV and film, but even more than that, being an artist. I signed a production deal, like a development deal with a producer named Ray Cham, who ultimately I went on to write Get Your Head in the Game from High School Musical with,
Oh, cool.
which was a total fluke accident for me. Because the reason I got involved in that is I was working with Ray on my demo. I was in the studio putting some songs together for something that we could pitch to labels and see if they could get something going there. And he happened to be working on this random song for this random MOW, and I was like, "Hey, I'm a lyricist. Can I get in on this?" And he was gracious enough to be like, "Yeah, yeah, hop in on this." So I sang the demo and we submitted that, and I didn't think anything else about it. It was just I sing a lot of demos. I did a lot of stuff before that, and I was just like, all right, cool. And then it turned into what it turned into, and I was attached not just as the writer, but then when they got close to filming, I've also told this story on many podcasts, so forgive me if viewers if you've heard this and this is boring, but just so you know. Um, they brought me in to sing the soundtrack with the rest of the cast from the movie. Um, Never really told me why, never really told Zach why. Just kind of is how it shook down. So I ended up being the voice of Troy Bolton for the first High School Musical, and I fell into that thanks to demoing out Get Your Head in the Game with Ray. So rest in peace, Ray. And yeah, that was really like the start of that's when I was able to end up quitting PF Chang's and everything else that came after that. That was like the start of it for me. So
That is
yeah.
wild.
And I don't, and like I said earlier, like I don't think I have the greatest voice in the world, but it just sort of fit that project. I was in the right place at the right time. I met the right people at the right time. So yeah, just the universe works in really strange ways. And
Are you a big manifester?
um I mean I want to be. I need to get better about what do you mean exactly by manifesting? Do I do I visualize what's going to happen and then make it happen? Or do
I
I
mean, maybe like, are you intentional? Like, were you thinking about an opportunity like working with Disney in that way, or did things just kind of happen when you were putting yourself out there and
yeah, more that. More like the coolest things in my career have not been my plan. Have
Mhm.
not necessarily been where I was putting my energy. I've known what I'm good at. I've known what I like to do. I like working with new people and I like taking on new challenges. And I just kind of go through life with open eyes and try to be open to different opportunities. And um, that's sort of how that came about. Like I didn't expect to be part of this juggernaut project. I wasn't even well, I made my Broadway debut a few years later in The Little Mermaid. I wasn't trying to go to New York. I wasn't planning on pursuing theater. That sort of fell into my lap because they were looking for a replacement Prince Eric, and they're like, "Who do we know in the Disney universe that can sing?" And I know, and I was
Wow.
like, "All right, I'll move to New York. Let's give it a try."
Did you love
So
it?
yeah, I loved it. It was wonderful. It was so much fun. I'd love to go back again. My career has taken many strange twists and turns, and not all of them have been as successful as High School Musical, but they've all been equally interesting and fulfilling in different ways. And I've met lots of cool people along the way. So yeah,
You know, it's so crazy. I work with a special needs theater group, and 2 summers ago, we did High School Musical for our like summer play, and I choreographed it, and that was like our whole summer. And
nice.
just the thought of like being, I mean, you were part of the writing team, not only the voice of Troy. When you, I'm sure, have gone to see other productions of High School Musical or even like the spin-off series, I know you were part of as well. Like obviously when you signed on for the project, you didn't even know that you were signing on, let alone how big it would be. So what has being a part of something that took off like that taught you about the importance of making art you're passionate about?
I think just put your all into everything you do. You have no control over what happens afterward. It's fine. It's great to dream and to like imagine all the wonderful things that could happen, but like just contribute all you can of yourself in the best way in the moment and then let it go. Let it go into the world and whatever happens with it happens. And that's sort of how I like to take on any project. I let go of any expectations of, what this could be and like, scheme around planning, just do it, have fun, be joyful, let it go, move on with life, stay present. I don't know if that's exactly what you're asking, but
Totally.
that's sort
I'm
of
just so blown away because I don't know many artists who feel maybe I think I know
I
people who
wasn't always I wasn't always like that. And there's days where I'm not like that. I'm a human, I have my
yeah.
moments where I start, forecasting and everything, but I'm happiest and life is smoothest and I'm most most content and confident when I can just stay present and enjoy what I'm doing, and then not get caught up in the whole, the fame aspect of everything, which is why some people get into this business. And I've questioned at times, I'm like, is that why I became an actor? But no, it's really not. Like, it's fun when it happens. It's fun being here for this convention, meeting all these fans that, enjoyed One Tree Hill. But like, I didn't get into this for that. I
Yeah.
just really enjoy being on a set, being on a stage. It's where I'm happy. So, yeah.
What do you think is the biggest misconception of being in your position of having had the job experiences that you've had and like being on a panel like this and, being in that position?
Just that you ever arrive, that you're ever like fully confident and settled, and like that you ever stop doubting yourself at times. Like, I'm still human. I still have like good days, bad days. I'm still like, some people might look at my resume and say, "Oh my God, like you've done so many cool random things," and like you must be so, proud or happy or be able to relax. And like, I'm 42. Like, there's something to be said for midlife crisis. I'm like, should I even be doing this? Like, what what's next? Like, have I peaked? Like all the questions that come to you as a human who's had a lot of success earlier in life. I'm like trying to figure out what the next act is.
Does that feeling ever go away as a creative?
I don't know. Not It hasn't yet. I think, to be really honest, the hard part has been, I have a 5-year-old daughter, um, has been becoming a father and coming to terms with the fact that I'm not number one anymore. I can't just take any job I want to take. I can't, you know, move to Seoul, South Korea for the summer to do a musical. Like, I have to consider, I have to be very picky and choosy and selective with what I can accept now. Because I'm not the only thing that matters anymore. So like, I've had to become a lot less selfish and grow, and it's been hard. To be honest, like, I've had a hard time letting go of that freedom, um, and finding other ways to pivot into ways to be creative that don't take away from my family's time,
Mm.
and that keep me local and in town and able to participate daily, because I don't want to be an absent father that comes back every 3 months. And like, she's 5, it's going quick. I want to be there for as much as I can. So I think, yeah, just like getting over that hump of changing expectations and being okay with the quiet uh was hard. But like, I'm finally sinking into a good vibe of that now.
Mm. I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah. Like people always ask you, what are you working on? What's up next? What are you working on? Like, that's, as an actor, that's what you get all the time.
Mm.
So when the answer is nothing, I'm working on nothing. I'm spending time with my family. Like, there's part of your little actor brain that feels like, oh, I'm a failure. I should have something in the works. I should be. But really, it is okay to pause and breathe for years at a time, whatever you need. So yeah, I'm sorry I didn't come to that conclusion sooner, and I like fought against it and like wanted to keep being relevant
Mm.
longer. And I feel like I'm comfortable now, like just doing something every now and then, and that's enough. But yeah, that wasn't a re easy realization to come to at all, to be honest.
When you started meeting and working with people who were really in the spotlight, and I think it was a different time too before social media, because not everyone could just be like famous in a way, you know?
Mhm.
What did you learn from being so close to people who had that level of eyes on them? And was that something that you w wanted or romanticized?
Yeah, to an extent. I mean, I think about my level of fame versus Zach or somebody that is like front and center. And I don't know that I would want that. I think I have a healthy amount of anonymity in daily life. You know, every now and then I'll get recognized and someone will say, "Oh, I loved you in this," and da, can I have your autograph? Can I have a picture? And it's flattering and it's awesome, and I feel it's a nice little moment, and you know, it's an ego boost. But if it was happening like if I couldn't go anywhere, that would be miserable. That's not the kind of life I would want to live. So I don't envy some of the people that I was in orbit with, like superstars, you know, like I did see up close that people right at the top of their game, people that have success on like another level, are so kind and
Mhm.
are so giving and carefree and not scheming and manipulative and trying too hard, and like there's a level of ease and graciousness that I'm sure is what ultimately catapulted them to where they were and keeps them there. I feel like the people who don't have the best intentions, the people who like, you know, in audition rooms, like practice their lines really loud and or come out of the room and say, I nailed that, and like try to throw you off. Like those are the people that like ultimately never quite make it because it's just not genuine and they're not, people can see past that. So I found that the people in my orbit that had real success were just wonderful, wonderful people. And I was like, I get it. You deserve this. Enjoy it.
And that's such an important reminder too. Like staying genuine, staying kind. I
People
think
really do remember, and what goes around comes around, and like all the things that you learned as a kid, like all the sayings, like it's true, you know, treat others the way you want to be treated. Um, you know, in a cutthroat business like entertainment, it's even more important to remember those things because
Mhm.
it's easy to fall prey to the other, go the other direction.
When you were working on Broadway,
Mhm.
what were the biggest challenges and differences doing that versus the TV film work? And was that equally as gratifying?
More so gratifying. At the end of the day, ultimately, like theater is where I'm the most happiest, being on a stage. I mean, the hardest part was the stamina, just the transition of doing something 8 times a week, as opposed to, you know, filming a scene and then we're done, moving on. Little Mermaid especially was really hard because, you know, I was trained as a I was never really trained. I sort of like trained myself just through experience. Um, but as like a pop singer, as a studio singer, you know, not singing from my diaphragm, not singing correctly, like singing for a mic and getting that like airy sound, and like that's sort of like what I did. So when I was cast as Prince Eric and I had to like belt love ballads, I'm like, I'm not a belter. Like this is not what I do. So I did have a vocal coach that kind of prepped me for that run. But even after that, like that was a hard, it was really fun, but it was a hard 3 months to feel like I was living up to what the role required vocally. Jersey Boys was more so, that was a few years later on tour and Broadway. That was a more in my wheelhouse because even though it was Broadway, it was like a pop musical, you know, like the Four Seasons music is sort of more in my wheelhouse. The first month of each show was really hard. And then you learn where you can economize movement and you can like save yourself for certain moments, and like you learn the rhythm of it, and then it's like the rest of the run is like just so fun, just so easy when you don't have to like overthink every moment. You just go out there and do it, and it's a little different every night, but it's familiar. I did Jersey Boys for 3 years. I couldn't leave.
Yeah.
I didn't want to step away. You know, they kept coming back. I'm like, gotta do it again. That was so fun. And
Did
I'm sorry, Amy. That was in the early years of my marriage too, so that couldn't have been easy.
yeah.
But it was really fun.
Being in a musical where you're singing the same music over and over again, because also obviously you're a songwriter. Did that make you want to write your own music even more, or how did that kind of influence your songwriter heart?
Yeah, I mean, I've always had a little mobile recording setup that I've taken on the road. So, if the inspiration hits, or I like co-writing with producers. So, people will send me tracks, and I'll record vocals and harmonies and lyrics and stuff on my end, and send it back and go back and forth that way.
Hmm.
Doing that last night in here in this. So yeah, like that was something I didn't have to stop while I was on the road with the show. And I got to write with there's so many other talented singer-songwriters in theater and on that tour. Like the guy who played Bob Crew on our tour, Barry Anderson, we ended up writing a bunch of songs together on the road, a bunch of Christmas tunes that I got placed in Christmas Hallmark movies later, and I still perform if I'm doing like a Christmas concert. Our live band, some of them from the touring show, went in the studio and like played horns on it. Like we brought everybody in to the process. So I look around at like who's what resources are around when I'm somewhere, or who's good at what, and like try to bring people together in a way that everybody can do what they're good at, and we can create something new. So yeah,
Yeah. Did
I've
you
never
ever,
really stopped writing. Yeah,
sorry,
I never really stopped writing while I was doing these things.
did you ever have an I made it moment?
I've had a few of those. Yeah. When I was doing the High School Musical tour, uh, in Vegas, Kenny Ortega brought Michael Jackson and his kids backstage to meet the cast. And I
See.
mean, I did grow up with Michael Jackson. That's like vocally he was a huge influence on me, my style, and what I like to do. So yeah, got to shake his hand. He came around. He told me, he's like, I love the song you wrote. Like he said that to me, which is like
Yeah.
okay, this is not reality. That
Wow.
was definitely a highlight. There's a video on YouTube of me and Corbin and Lucas like jumping around like crazy people right after he left the room, because they no cameras, of course, but we got the aftermath because it was just so exciting. Yeah, that was a moment. Jersey Boys for sure was a moment. It's hard to remember all the little things right now if I'm not looking right at them,
Yeah.
but um, every time I get to do like a movie musical, it sort of ties together everything I love
Yeah.
to do, and that always feels like a real special thing. I did a Christmas movie a couple years ago. It ended with this like Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers like dance in the snow number that we both got to sing, and we got to dance in these like old timey costumes, and that felt like really magical and cool. Um, yeah.
Growing up, besides Michael Jackson, who were the entertainers that you looked up to and kind of paved the way for you?
Oof. Trying to remember I mean, growing up, I mean, I was a 90s kid, so I was a big like Nirvana, Smashing Pumpkins, Green Day fan. So like they didn't really pave the way for me in the sense that like I'm doing anything like that, but musically that's what I was listening to back then, and what inspired me back then. I mean, I was a big theater kid ever since Showboat. Like I did it was equal parts grunge and musical theater. So wrap your head around that. I should do American Idiot. That's what I
Yeah,
should
I
do.
was gonna say.
Um, yeah, yeah. So just delving into musical theater, and then pop R&B with this boy band, and then I went through like a big jazz phase and got big into Ella Fitzgerald and like crooners of the past. And it all sort of informs me in different little mini ways now when I'm doing stuff.
Did you always enjoy auditioning?
I hate auditioning. I still hate auditioning. Some people love it. Good for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some good experiences. Like, I think I absorbed too much of the room. You're supposed to just be like, have this like stoic untouchable confidence, and some people do, and that's wonderful. Um, but like when I walk into a room, if everybody's like cold, stone, dead faced, like sometimes like I take some of that on and I'm like, oh, it's about me. And it's not about me at all. But
Yeah.
the monkey mind starts going. We're in a weird different time now where like you don't go into rooms to audition anymore. It's just make me a self-tape at home. So that has its own pitfalls and setbacks, like sometimes the lighting and sound isn't the greatest. Sometimes like you make yourself go crazy by doing 20 takes because of one little inflection of a word that you didn't
Yeah.
like. And it's like it'd be nice to just like leave it in the room and like move on with your life.
Yeah.
Some of my best jobs, like um, have been jobs that I've been offered based on my demo reel or people that I know, like that have, once I get on set, it's good. It's just like in the audition room, sometimes it can be stressful. Yeah.
Did you have any experiences early on that were really like traumatizing or
Oh, you're delving in deep.
I think it's important for other artists to hear because,
I mean,
everyone's been through that.
yeah, I mean, I've this One Tree Hill show was the first time I ever tested for a series. So like I lived in Florida. They flew me to LA for the final callback for Nathan Scott, the role James Lafferty ended up doing. So it was me, him, and one other guy. And I thought, oh man, this could be my shot. So got into the audition room, was halfway through the first scene, and my cell phone rang.
Who
20 suits watching dead face, just like I was saying. And I was like,
was
I
it?
can't believe it was my friend Alicia.
Are
And
you guys still friends?
I haven't talked to her in a while. How are you, Alicia? I know she does marathons in New York City. She was awesome. We were really good friends in college. I need to catch up with her.
Oh my
But
God.
I was like, what do I do? So I picked up and I like pretended she was Hillary Burton's character in the show. I'm like, oh, Peyton, what's up? You at the party? And she, Alicia on the other end is like, Drew? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there in 20 minutes. You got the beer? And she's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, okay, cool. We'll talk to you later. So I hung up. I thought to myself for a minute, I was like, oh, I really played that off. Jumped right back into the scene, nailed it. But then I looked up and they were like, you did not
Oh,
nail it. You should have turned your phone off. So that was not, I don't think that's the reason why I didn't get the role. James is by far a better basketball player and a great actor. The right man got the job. But it was a traumatizing experience because I was like, I came all the way out to California and I blew it. So it was like,
do you even bring your
horror
phone to the
stories.
audition room now?
Always silent it. Always, always, always.
Power fully off in a safe.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. Honestly, it's really impressive that you
Yeah.
like played it off.
Yeah.
Show must go on. I guess that,
Yeah, they ended up throwing me a bone, and I played a little side character in the first season on the basketball team. So maybe that was worth something. Yeah,
yeah, now you're at the convention. So look at that.
20 years later, who knows? Yeah,
Wow. If your 13-year-old self, or at what age do you think the bullying was the worst?
definitely in sixth, seventh grade. Like, yeah, young kids can be mean. That was like when I was first starting theater. Like when I was in Canada, really was the worst. Being an actor in high school for me was like accepted. It was like the theater kids weren't the nerdy theater kids. It was like it was cool. So I was lucky in that regard. But I mean he would maybe he would have more confidence back then and say you're gonna be okay. Just enjoy this moment. Like don't worry what these kids are saying. You're doing your own running your own race and
Hmm.
don't try to conform as much. Embrace sooner who you are and what you like to do, because it's going to work out in the end.
Did you ever have moments along your journey where you really did not know if you were cut out for the life of an artist?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, every actor has long periods of unemployment. It's just kind of par for the course. And even now, like to be honest, I'm like, I have done a lot of things, but there's moments, there's days, times where I'm like, is this what I should be doing? Like, what's have I run my course? Like, is there something else I should be doing with my life? It's not an easy thing to it's not a consistent thing to do with your life. So if you want consistency, go into some other type of business. If you're okay with um, uncertainty and you don't let self-doubt take over you, because you're going to have some self-doubt, when things aren't happening. But like if you can weather those storms and like long periods of unemployment and like understand that like this is just part of it and just find a way to focus on other things and get through that, then I would say it's a wonderful career. It's a very fulfilling career. But if you're the kind of person that needs the comfort of like knowing you got this, something to hold on to, then being an artist is not the first recommendation.
Are you someone that really enjoys
I feel like I'm someone who wants something more stable and some more stability that fell into an artist's career and like kind of wants both.
yeah. No,
Just
I
like just like when you ask me like or when people ask me like what would if you had to choose music or acting? I'm like, fuck, I don't know. Both. Like
yeah,
movie musicals. Like
right.
I want it both ways. I want it all ways.
Yeah, because I'm in the same boat. Have you found things that are able to give you a little bit of consistency and routine so you're not completely feeling crazy and no routine?
My wife is so much better about this, and she's taught me a lot about just self-care and just like I'll go for long periods where I'll just forget to work out or go running or whatever. She's like, I'm going to yoga Sunday morning, like 9 a.m. Like she has a plan. She knows what she needs to do to be at her best self. Because I was saying earlier about, my people pleasing tendencies, like I tend to not think of myself first. I like if there's time left over, if there's energy left over, I'll do something for myself, but like I'm not top of mind. So in this phase of life, like I'm finally committed to like taking care of me first, making sure that I'm filled up enough to be there for my wife and my daughter, and yeah, and like just being outside is it for me. I love to run. I love to hike. I have started getting into yoga, so just like moving my body, which is starting to feel its age lately, is very important. So yeah, do those things to get myself out of my head. Try to spend a little less time on my phone. I
Mhm.
went back and forth with like deleting Instagram. I'll
Mhm.
be off it for a week, then I'll get on it because I'll be like, oh, God, yeah, I gotta let people know what's up, or I gotta, I can't be too out of the loop, and then I'll get burnt out on that, and I'll delete it again. And yeah, so just trying to find that level of um, protecting my own peace while not just being oblivious to the world.
In the same boat. I currently
Hard
don't have social media on my phone, so I'm in the phase of nothing.
hard balance, yeah.
I mean, not even like I deleted YouTube too, like everything. I just was I can't have it on my phone. And so sometimes I'll like send something to my mom and she'll post it for me, honestly, because it's going on social media it can be so just like you feel your energy depleted when you just open Instagram. But I guess that wasn't something that you really had to think about when you were starting out, right? Like it wasn't.
Such a different world. Yeah, it's such a different, yeah. I can't imagine trying to make it as and people are doing it, people are figuring it out, but like trying to make it as an artist, like music wise right now, just like how to break through and like in the Spotify time we're in, or, you know, I mean, they're still making movies and TV shows. Like nothing has really changed, I guess, in that sense, but I just feel like it's the fact that there's no monoculture anymore. There's no like water cooler moments. There's no one thing that like everybody like there's no High School Musical. There's no that like everybody knows about that's like you read about in magazines and like
Hmm.
it's like this cultural moment. Like there's just 5,000 mini cultures
Yeah.
now. So the time of like having that one thing hit big is like kind of over unless you're Taylor Swift. It's sort of like be the best at your own niche of what it is and find your super fans in that niche and like be the best at that, which is awesome. It's just so different.
Yeah.
So like you can't expect movies that you shoot now to get the kind of viewership that they might have gotten 20 years, unless you like stumble upon like a Squid Game or some crazy like cultural thing. But like it's just very, very rare nowadays.
Has there been a movie or show or anything that or music that you've seen or heard recently that reminded you why you do what you do and why you love it?
Mhm. I mean, Wicked was amazing. Any movie musical that comes out, I'm like, that's so fun. Uh, that's still where it's at for me. I really like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend a few years ago, that show, because just the comedy of and all the music infused in the show. Like I wish there was
Yeah.
more like that on TV nowadays. There's so many good stories being told now, and like it's just like where to find them, and I don't have as many hours in the day to like do that nowadays. Like I don't watch very much TV anymore because my time is taken up with being a dad and like having a yard to clean, and like there's life stuff. So more so than TV, like I've been listening to a lot of podcasts and music, and like that's more my input these days.
Right now, where's the majority of your creative energy and focus going?
Um, well, I do want to release another album, so I'm trying to figure out what shape that would take. Part of me wants to do something that's like a little country. I have some songs that are in that vein. Part of me wants to do sort of like a Christmas classics sort of album, which is like or like the Jersey Boys world. Like that's a whole different lane. I'm still figuring out who I am. That's the whole thing. It's like the one thing I don't like about being an artist in our business is like you have to decide who you are. You have to decide who you want the public to think you are and like kind of like stay in that lane because that's what people will expect. Like I feel like I'm a multifaceted human that likes very widely different things, musical theater, grunge music. Like it's hard to like define myself by one style or genre. So even though I'm known as like the Disney pop singer guy, like that's not all I like, that's not all I do. I think that's why I've always wanted to be an actor ultimately, even though I love music more than like an artist, because like I don't want to pick. I don't want to define myself. I want to do what moves me in the moment. It'll find its audience or it won't, and I'll be fulfilled because I did it. I am shooting a movie musical next month that I'm very excited about, called Saturday, which is sort of like a Grease meets the Breakfast Club sort of thing.
Oh,
A whole bunch of really talented kids. Well, they're not kids; they're probably 20, 21. Um, but I'm definitely not a kid. I play a teacher, and yeah, I got a couple songs in there, and it's a really really I think it's going to be a special project. So I'm excited to see where that ends up and share that with the world. Beyond that, yeah, I don't know. Just trying to stay open to whatever comes across, you know, the universe.
yeah. No, I completely agree. It's so like why box yourself in when the whole point of being an artist is to express yourself in whatever medium that. But I think there are a lot of people who do like a Lady Gaga, right? Who like defies genre and
Of
acts
course.
and sings and all these
She
different things.
she like solidified herself as one thing in one thing, and then like she was able to branch off and like do different things, and like people followed her. I don't think that always works with most artists, but she's a real success case there. And that's awesome to see.
What is the best piece of advice you've been given?
Run your own race, put blinders on, have your own lane, and that doesn't have to be any specific thing other than just what feels right for you. And I was at another one of these conventions a couple of months ago, and this question was asked on stage, and a couple of the other actors that had really good answers that kind of stuck with me. One of them was, he referenced that Matthew McConaughey book that just
I read
came
it.
out about like your turn, my turn kind of thing. Just like having that like mindset of like, this is your turn, that you have every bit of talent, every right to get this role over me. Like it's just this is your turn. Next turn will be my turn. Just like not putting so much pressure on yourself and just understanding that there's enough to go around, a mindset of abundance and not lack, you
Mm.
know, because it's easy to fall into that as an actor, like a lack mindset, but just remembering that like it's a big world and there's a lot of stuff going on and like having an abundant mindset. Also, like another guy there was talking about the game of Plinko on what is it? Price is Right.
No.
It's like that little ball that kind of comes down. It goes different
Okay.
ways. You never know where it's going to land, which
Yeah.
direction it's going to go. You lose the money here, you win all the money here. Like when it's over, it's over. Like when it hits the bottom and you're done, you're dead. It doesn't matter anymore anyway. So basically enjoy the journey. It doesn't matter which direction it goes, doesn't matter. You might win over here, you're going to lose over here. Just it's just it's a journey. So enjoy the journey and not try to don't get focused on the destination. Like actually like remember to live in the moment and enjoy the journey because when it's over, it's over. So yeah.
No, it's easier said than done, but very, very important to be reminded of for sure. Um, what do you want your legacy to be?
Oh man. Um, done a lot of cool stuff and maybe some of the things that I've done have inspired kids and people in different ways, but I haven't actually like taught anything aside from I've done some workshops, like some master classes, gone to some high schools, and I really enjoyed that. I really liked working with these kids. And I feel like moving more into a mentorship role, I don't know what form that would take, especially at this phase of my life, not thinking as selfishly in the projects that I can do and can take, like how can I how can I be more of a mentor to people and share what I've learned and as opposed to just doing project after project for my own sake. So yeah, I want my legacy to be someone who helped people and who took their time to like individually like pay attention to people and like help them also achieve what I've been lucky and blessed to reach. I want other people to have the experience that I've had. I think it's maybe a little harder to find the path nowadays with the new ways that, with all the proliferation of just like it's a little overwhelming. So to provide some guidance for people.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. So
But
you're
that's
out of the hot seat. I know it's a lot for
yeah,
a Saturday.
good question.
Thank you. I really appreciate your vulnerability. I know this is gonna inspire so many people, and I'm just really grateful that you've shared your experiences and
Wonderful way to spend an hour. And thank you for vulnerability inducing question.
oh, thank you.
Right.